Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Just as I'm getting over the shock of my wife's affair, I find out she's pregnant by her affair partner. What now? My wife, 26F, and I, 29M, pretty much have not had sex since COVID started. Mostly because 2 months into it, I lost my job as an office manager at a small business. There were no other jobs hiring as much as hospital jobs, so I made the decision to become a janitor at a hospital. The steep drop in income, as well as that I'd be working in the front lines, made my wife tell me she can't bear to touch me at all. I ended up making the decision that because my dad had an empty room above a detached garage, that for the time being I'd go to work and then go home to my dad's garage with its separate entrance, so I wasn't putting anyone at risk. I thought things were going okay. My wife and I had a 3-year-old daughter together and I'd FaceTime her whenever I could. But my wife started getting distant and asking if I could pick up another job because our finances were still so tight. She was disappointed when I said I didn't think I could find any, and the people at the hospital were telling us that overworking ourselves would really doom us if the virus happened to be incubating inside of us. I would call my wife and she started just not answering my calls until later. I was the most alone I'd ever been, but I thought that at least my wife seemed to be okay since she was posting about having Zoom wine and cheese night or virtual board game night with her friends pretty much every night on her story. Slowly though, my FaceTime calls would be reduced to a few quick words with my wife before she put the phone on my daughter. I came home around fall of 2020. However, my wife said she'd rather I sleep in the guest bedroom and keep most of my activities restricted to that area. So basically from that point all the way to March, I would spend most of my time at home in my separate room and only my daughter would sometimes come in. I started suspecting something suspicious when my wife would just leave the house for long periods of time. Also, I saw discarded price tags of expensive clothes and other stuff that I knew we wouldn't be affording on my salary. She leaves her iPad open one day and I see a trail of money transfers via Zelle from the same person. She finally admits to the affair but phrases it as she was in total survival mode and sarcastically said that I had hopped off into the sunset like you were going off to war and I was supposed to wait at the windowsill for you. After our blowout argument, I go to my dad's house to blow off steam. When I get back home, my daughter was up already but my wife was sleeping. She was clearly upset and could sense we were fighting. We went to counseling and my wife told me some legitimate issues she was having, namely the panic attacks at the thought of getting coronavirus and being a single mom to our daughter. 2 weeks go by since our last session and my wife starts feeling sick. During therapy we had promised each other an open phone policy if either of us felt uncomfortable, because she also said that she cheated because she was thinking I could have easily also had an affair. I felt she was being sneaky again, so I asked if I could see her phone. She then said that she needed to talk to me. She broke the news that she took 2 pregnancy tests and went to the doctor when I was at work with the father, and the texts reflect that. It's a foregone conclusion that the baby isn't mine. I didn't want to come face to face with the other man, but my wife said that he wants to be a part of his kid's life. My wife and I are both white and the other man is African American. And the other man says that he's the only one who can impart on the kid the other half of his or her identity. After I told my family, they all said that eventually my daughter was going to ask questions and there was no way to brush this one under the rug. They are blowing up about the fact that I was going to have a physical representation of my wife's infidelity around me and begged me to leave her. But my wife had said previously that if I tried to leave her I would just end up breaking my daughter's heart. And in the past few days I've been bombarded by assumptions that I will be racist towards the child, especially from the birth father. This has not done anything to my view that every person is equal, and it burns me that people think just because this awful thing of infidelity I experienced involved a black man and will soon involve a biracial baby that I'm racist. I will never be anything but affectionate to the kid. I will honor the child as my daughter's sibling. But I don't think I can stand my wife anymore. I don't think I can stand being around her because every moment it's always anger and stress for me. Like how this baby she wants to have is coming, but I don't see how I could be in the delivery room when the father wants to be there. I don't know what to tell my daughter, who knows that I'm very upset right now. I can barely afford to make rent for our family, yet she was out spending some other guy's money on her own comfort items. Do I stay and allow the father to start paying for expenses related to the baby? Do I have to let him visit the house now or talk to him? I don't think I can do either. My wife said that the affair ended, but now their relationship will never end. But my daughter is very astute and will be seeing how I handle this. And part of me still remembers the things that made me fall in love with my wife. But I hate to say that I would have forgiven her if she wasn't pregnant. I'm sorry, I don't hate the kid or anything, but this just made everything so much more complicated. I am at a loss of how I would leave. Hopped off into the sunset like you were going off to war and I was supposed to wait at the windowsill for you. It sounds like you didn't do that, since you called and FaceTimed often. And even if you hadn't, being apart for a few months isn't an excuse to cheat. If she was feeling like she was in survival mode, she should have communicated her feelings rather than cheat. That if I tried to leave her, I would just end up breaking my daughter's heart. This part is ridiculous to me. She made the decision to cheat and jeopardize your relationship, not you. Whatever happens because she cheated is because she cheated, not because you're reacting in an understandable way. His wife will be breaking their daughter's heart by using her as a pawn, rather than respecting her as a person. Survival mode equals I'm not getting as much money as I feel entitled to. Money or dick, apparently. Unbelievably selfish. Nailed it. Your daughter will absolutely be seeing how you handle this. Do you want to give her the message that you should say in a marriage where you aren't respected if there are kids involved? Hope you didn't do anything wrong. Leave your wife and co-parent your daughter without being married to her. Plenty of children are growing up this way today. Children will absolutely understand after a while. I think it's crazy that the wife was asleep and her 3-year-old was awake and alone. Like, how is this woman going to raise 2 kids alone when she's not even paying attention to the first one? Not to mention she abandoned her husband, who was legit trying to earn a living and keep his family safe. Fight for full custody. You're actually in a great spot, run. Because of your income you likely won't have to pay alimony for your unfaithful wife. She'll be a broke-ass single mom who will have to face full consequences for the first time in her life. Wife says a split will break his daughter's heart. Staying would break Hop's heart. Yeah, I'd say more like cheating on your spouse and ruining your marriage is what's going to break their daughter's heart. Chikray. First off, I want to say that I'm really sorry this happened to you. Nobody should have to experience the pain of hearing the news that the woman they fell in love with is pregnant by another guy. Truly gut-wrenching. In reference to your windowsill comment above, my thought is your wife had 2 options: absolutely wait at the windowsill for you or go get a job herself to help. Cheating is not a legitimate excuse in your situation. You were working during a pandemic, putting your life on the line to keep the lights on. You sacrificed for the family and she took it as an opportunity to go play. The fact that she used your kid as an excuse not to leave is absurd, and it really speaks to the quality of person she really is, as if the other stuff hadn't. You're not going to like what I'm going to say, but you probably need to leave your wife. You should absolutely file for primary custody of your daughter, as well as it seems like her character has come into question. Sure, your daughter will struggle with this. I did when my parents divorced, but kids heal and they grow to understand the situations. You need to get yourself into a healthy situation. Give yourself a chance to be happy. This will work out for the best for your relationship with your daughter at the end of the day. Meanwhile, sit back and watch your wife's life implode as the guy she hooked up with jumps ship to chase the next lady he can find. Let's not forget she also cheated for financial gain, as she was upset Hop had to take a lower paying job. She made choices to benefit herself and no one else, including her AP, because what happens when he loses his job or suffers a pay cut? She's gonna look for another richer man, that's what. It's too bad that people don't take those vows seriously. For richer or poorer isn't just something you say yes to. Those words have very serious meanings, and they are based on the fact that when you really love somebody, those other things, money, sickness, whatever, shouldn't matter. You stick by your spouse when they're down. You don't kick them. Sadly, there are many people like the op's wife out there. This comment right here. Leave the wretched woman, let her be with her lover, build yourself back up and be a great father to your daughter. I'm a black woman. And I am seriously pissed that this black man would bring out a race card after acting like less than a man. Real men don't sit there and cheat or participate in the act of cheating knowingly. You/throw rope 3, you sound like an amazing man, partner, and husband. It takes a real man to do what you did. You aren't racist for wanting to not see the physical representation of an act of selfish betrayal. In the words of the former host of Divorce Court, step on and step well. He and her will get theirs. No good comes from selfish, hurtful actions like this. You are a young and good man. Any woman would snatch you up and be a better wife and mother. Yeah, I agree, race has nothing to do with this, op. You're entitled to not want to co-raise another man's baby with a wife who cheated on you when you fell on hard times, no less. I think it would be better for your daughter if you left. It would show her it's okay to have boundaries and enforce them. Unhappy parents are not good parents. I'm a black woman. And I am seriously pissed that this black man would bring out a race card after acting like less than a man. He wants someone else to pay for his kid. Isn't this literally a stereotype? He's calling op racist to try and guilt him into paying the child support, this piece of shitose.